Can you update us on Kamal Ruzicki? Where are we at? Is he a Nottingham Forest player yet?
Still waiting, and that's of course in the hands of the club and the authorities as such. So I've got no news on that at the moment, but I would imagine it wouldn't be too long to wait. I would imagine.
We're nearly a week now after the deadline passed.
Yes, and certainly as a manager and as a squad, we would like them decisions to be made as quick as possible. But we are in the hands of good people, and certainly our club are dealing with it very, very well.
It's been a heck of a start for you since you came in. When you came in, did you notice the squad was down on confidence, and what have you tried to change?
No, I haven't seen a group of players down in confidence. I think probably because of the norm, and it's expected. And I've been in that position myself when a new manager walks through the door. What you expect every player to do is to be attentive, to train hard, to try to put good things into my thoughts and processes as such. So no, I've seen a committed group of players that have trained well. It's very difficult to speak about what was in the past, but of course it was a difficult period, and sometimes them difficult periods can change, and certainly in our circumstance by quite a fortuitous goal. And that can happen, and that can change a mood. But know that they've been very good so far.
What have you said to them? What have you tried to do differently? Or have you say you've not looked at the past, and that's completely understandable. So have you not actually changed anything? You've just come in with your own ideas and your own viewpoint on things.
I think you're just after a reaction. As a new manager coming in, I think there are two ways that you can always go about it. You can look at a group of players, assess what you've got there, and then determine a formation or way of playing around what you've got. Or you can come in with some sort of set principles, seeing if the players can fit into them principles, and judge things as you go along. So I had in my mind a way that I wanted to play, try to simplify things as much as possible. But of course you are always reliant on results, and thankfully for us, we went into that first game picking up the right result. I think we earned that result, and then of course that builds a little bit of confidence, and I think it sets that structure in place straight away.
Wherever you've been, Chris, there's always been a focus on strikers. There is in any team, and Lewis Graben's in the spotlight a little bit now. Going back to the end of last season as well, I think it's 10 games without a goal, and he missed that one against Rotherham when he was 1-1 as well. What do you do as a manager? Do you say anything to him? What's your style when it comes to that? Do you rest him? Do you keep playing and say you're going to be my number one choice going forward, whatever happens? What's the approach?
Yeah, well, I think, Jerry, it's a mixture of things. And of course what we always have to remember is that if there's an individual as you're speaking to that hasn't perhaps scored for a while, it's not about him, it's about the team. So that's first and foremost. But Lewis is an experienced striker that would have been through highs and lows before, good periods, difficult periods. For me, it's about performance, and certainly, yes, missed a good opportunity midweek, but it was about his overall performance, and for me, anybody that's putting in what we require, the levels that we require in the team, always has a chance. But as I say, Lewis is an experienced striker that would have been through good and bad periods before.
You know this championship very, very well. It feels more unpredictable than ever this year because of the pandemic, the lack of fans, the difficult finances that a lot of clubs are working under. How on earth do you see it? Do you see it as an opportunity this year because maybe there aren't any outstanding teams? The teams that have come down, have they got a bigger advantage because of the parachute payments, and are they outstanding favourites? I don't know. What do you think of the division as a whole?
Yeah, and I would agree. If you're looking at the game as a whole, in particular, I mean, somebody told me a stat the other day regarding the Premier League. I think when we had that 0-0 draw at the weekend, it was I think something like the first time, that there's been something like 40 odd games before. So it has affected the game, and there's no doubt it's affected the game at all levels. I think it's a little bit more open. I think it gives teams away from home a little bit more of an opportunity. I think because there isn't that strong, home advantage. So it is going to change. Some of the things in the Championship that don't change though is it's a grueling long season, and it's about the teams that can be the most consistent in that period of time. What we've also seen in the last few seasons in particular are different styles of team getting promotion. So there probably isn't a clear answer, but certainly one of the biggest characteristics would be the team that is the most resilient and of course the most consistent over that period of time.
Well, last one from me. Derby, you'll be in no doubt what this game means to the supporters, even though they're going to be watching from afar on Friday night rather than actually being there. What do you expect from this one? Will it still have that passion and that intensity?
I'd like to think so, and I think what I've seen so far, and of course, I wasn't involved in the first series of games, of course, with no supporters. But what I've found so far is that once the players are on the pitch, there's a real good level of intensity. That's what I found, and the same desires to want to win a game and the same desires to not want to lose a game. So I'm hoping, and I would think that the fact that the game is what it is, and it's of course our biggest derby game, and for our supporters the biggest game of the season, is I would expect that type of intensity from both sides in the game.
Thanks, Chris. Very good.
Chris, how happy are you with the start that you've made and the response that you've had from the players?
I'm certainly happy at this moment with the reaction of the players. I'm certainly disappointed straight after the result against Rotherham, because it was a game that we should have won, and I think anybody watching the game, particularly that second half, would have seen the opportunities that we had. But there's the balance. I thought we were well worthy of eventually the win at Blackburn, but it was a fortuitous goal. So I suppose on the balance, if we said 4 points from the two games, one home and away, then I can't be too unhappy with that.
You've talked about missed opportunities, and Rob spoke particularly about Graben, but how much of that is about confidence, and that's going to take a little while to turn that around given the start of the season, isn't it, I guess?
I think it's a mixture of confidence, is a mixture of the team, whether the team's doing well, whether the team's creating enough chances, and I think it's also a mixture of it's just one of them facts. Every striker would have gone through a period of where they weren't scoring goals, and sometimes that striker might be going through actually one of his better periods of performance. So for me, what's always been the most important is that the team contribution, where we're going to get our goals from. It doesn't always have to be from a striker. And of course, Sammy Amiobi pops up from a wide area into a position where we want our wide players to go. So I think it's more for me about the team.
Huge game on Friday. Local derbies obviously mean a lot to the fans. It's going to be very strange to be inside that stadium. Sometimes the manager's still going to have to rein in the players because of the atmosphere. How big a challenge is that going to be for the players to get up for this game?
No, it won't be any challenge at all, because first and foremost, it's we are at home. It's a game that we want to get 3 points with, irrespective of who the opposition is. We're unbeaten in 2, which is a nice feeling, and I'd like to think that we can go into the game in some confidence. So that's first and foremost, but it's got the added impetus of it being our biggest derby game, and every single player in the team would have played in some type of derby game, so they will know what it means and what it means to the club and our supporters. So no, I don't think it'd be difficult to get them up for this one.
Derby obviously had a very difficult start themselves, desperate for a win. Some pressure on the manager over there.
Yeah, but I think on any pressures on management, it's normal. You know, whatever end of the table that you are on, and it's about expectations. And you know, you can be at a club that are expected to be in a certain position, or a club that's that finds itself in some bad form. It's part and parcel, of the game, and they're the highs and lows that managers have to go through. And their manager is a very experienced manager, and they've got good quality. They've got a lot of young players in the squad as well, which they are developing very much so, and they're capable still of winning any game. And certainly when I look at their performances, they probably have deserved more than what they've got.
No Wayne Rooney, obviously, so that would be a big blow as far as they're concerned. Beneficial for you.
Yes, but I think we always look at one coming out and one going in, and of course there's no doubt with Wayne Rooney the quality of player that he is, and it will be a miss for them. But it's always an opportunity for somebody else, and what they have got is exactly the same way as we've spoke about what this game means. It means exactly the same to them. So whoever that replacement is, I'm sure will work every bit as hard as what Wayne Rooney would do.
And your message for the fans, obviously they're going to be watching it from home, throwing some stuff at the telly or whatever it is they're going to be doing. It's going to be hard for them to have to sit through this and not to be inside the stadium. Yes,
it will. I mean, the only message we can give them is that we'll do everything we can to get the result. We're very, very conscious of what this game means to our supporters, and we'll do everything that we can to get the result.